Hello and welcome to a guide for Teemo. In this guide, I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know to be playing this champion. Teemo is a champion that is a lane bully and can just win lane against almost any champ, and is super annoying with his blind and traps and poison, and everything that he has in his kit is really annoying and super broken. So I think you guys are going to enjoy playing him. In this video, I'm going to be going over his abilities, combos, build, runes, spells, and I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks for playing Teemo. You can skip around. I have the timestamps on the screen and in the description down below if you want to skip around the video. However, I highly recommend you watch the entire thing if you really want an in-depth guide on how to play Teemo. And I highly recommend watching my tips and tricks session where I go over things that beginner Teemo players to advanced veteran Teemo players need to know and sometimes are doing wrong. So be sure to stick around for that. Before we get into the video, I just quickly want to say that I'm doing a 100 subscriber giveaway right now. I'm sorry it was out a little bit late, but you can join now. There's a link in the description, so go check that out right after you're done with this video. In Wild Rift, they swapped around Teemo's third skill and Teemo's passive. So his passive is Toxic Shot, which allows his attack to deal bonus damage on impact and additional magic damage over 4 seconds. So his passive enables his basic attacks to deal extra damage over 4 seconds. The skill order that you want to be getting his skills in is first getting his first skill, which is his damaging skill. Secondly, you want to level up his second skill to get that increased mobility. And lastly, you want to be taking his third skill. You also want to max them out in that order, as well as place any points in your ult when you have the chance. Teemo's first skill is his Blinding Dart, and this skill is also an auto attack reset. This skill is really great in general, and attacks when you attack an enemy, it will blind them and they will miss their target, dealing no damage and failing to apply on-hit effects. This ability is extremely OP, especially in 1v1 scenarios where your opponent is completely unable to hit their auto attacks. If you use this on an ADC during a team fight, it will completely make them useless. Teemo's second skill allows him to get some passive movement speed. At level 1, the movement speed is 10% and it increases by 5% each level. So at level 2 it's 15%, at level 3 it's 20%, and at level 4 it is 25%. So this not only gives you some passive movement speed, but also has an active that allows Teemo to roll a short distance and then gain increased movement speed for 3 seconds. So this ability actually does not go over walls. If it did, that would be absolutely broken, combined with his third skill, which we are going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so this is allowed for more mobility when you want to dodge skill shots or when you want to chase down an enemy, but also for retreating. So this is just a great skill in general, and you want to be leveling up this second. Teemo's third skill is basically his passive from the PC. After a delay, he will become stealth. He will go into stealth after 1 second, and he will be able to have 5 seconds for this effect if he's not in brushes or staying immobile. If he stays in the same place or he's hiding in a brush, then this skill will be prolonged. And after he exits this skill, he will gain increased attack speed, 30% for level 1 and 60% when it's maxed out. So it increases 10% each time, and that's just insane, where you have an attack speed steroid that increases your auto attacks by 60%, which is just absolutely insane. After Teemo's third skill, we have his ult, and this tosses a mushroom that is a trap, and if the enemy steps on it, it will deal magic damage according to his AP. This will also deal slow, and also these mushrooms can bounce off of each other. So if you throw a mushroom on top of another mushroom, you can see where they're going to be placed after the bounce too if you hover over it with your skill. And this skill is really great in general for objective control, but also for running away from your enemies. Don't put your mushrooms around randomly, but really think before you put your mushrooms. How is this going to help me? Is this going to help me track the jungler? Is this going to give me vision? Is it going to stop ganks? If I kite to this mushroom, will it help me? Will it save me if I kite back to this mushroom? That's how you want to be placing your mushrooms. Don't place them randomly in minion waves or where minions are going to walk over them, or just place them randomly all over the map, but really think about your mushroom placement, as it is really important. Some good places for a mushroom include placing it by this wall, because if you do that, then when the enemy's running away from you, for example, if you're hiding inside this brush and the enemy's running away from you, they'll probably go near this wall and step over your mushroom, activating the slow and the damage, and you'll be able to chase them down with your skills. Okay, so Teemo's first combo is really complicated and it's really hard to execute. So I don't know if a lot of you guys will be able to do it, but I think I'm going to show it anyway because it's a really important combo. And yeah, this combo is absolutely broken. You won't believe what it is. And it's just absolutely broke, but it's really hard to execute, so I don't know if a lot of you guys will be able to do it. So this combo, are you guys ready? It's using his first skill. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, you use your first skill. Boom, combo over. Okay, bye. Done with combo guide. You guys can watch the rest of the video now. Just kidding. But before I get into the combos, I just want to tell you how broken his first skill is. If you're using Teemo's first skill in lane, it's gonna automatically win you it and blind your opponent. This skill is absolutely broken, so when you are trading with your opponent, be sure to use this reset as much as you possibly can, especially if you're gonna follow up with that attack speed steroid on your third skill. So be sure to do that. So Teemo's first combo is just using his auto attack, resetting it with his first skill, and then auto attacking one more time. And since this is a 3-hit combo, it'll proc your electrocute, and it's pretty easy to execute. So you just auto reset it and then auto again. At full speed, it just looks like that. It's really easy to do, and when you have electrocute up, then it will deal a significant amount of damage and also is pretty safe to execute. So be using that a lot when trading in lane. So for Teemo's second combo and the next combos are all going to be variations on the first combo, which is your bread and butter that you want to be using a lot. So you can use this combo after your enemy runs over your ult, then you can use your second skill to gap close, and then auto attack, auto reset, and then auto attack to proc that electrocute, as well as deal a lot of damage. So you'll also be having the movement speed from your second skill, so you can use this to run them down the lane and follow up with more auto attacks. Okay, so before I get into Teemo's last combo, I just want to say there's a lot of different variation you can use with his 3 skills. These aren't the only set combos that you want to be doing with Teemo's. Of course, you want to be freestyling with your second and third skill and mixing it up, but always try to go for that auto reset and into another auto attack, as that is extremely powerful, and just be looking to chunk down your opponent. So now I'm going to be getting into Teemo's level 6 all-in after his opponent runs over a mushroom. So if your opponent runs into a mushroom, then you can and they're kind of far away from you, you can activate your third skill and then use your second skill to gap close and then do the same combo as the second combo. But now you'll have an attack speed steroid to go along with your extra movement speed, and this will definitely be able to kill your opponent if they're less than 60% HP. If they're more HP than that, you can use Ignite and your other skills to run them down the lane and obliterate them. As for Teemo's build, you want to be going Gnasher's Tooth for first item. This will give you attack speed, ability power, and ability haste. And the passive synergizes extremely well with Teemo's playstyle. So this is a must-have item and one of Teemo's core items. After he buys this item, he hits a pretty big power spike, so be sure to use that properly. The next item you want to be buying with Teemo is Hextech Gunblade. And you may be thinking, wait a minute, everyone else is building Lichbane. Don't you think Lichbane's a better item for Teemo? No, I think Hextech Gunblade is actually way more OP if you take Mana Flow Ban. If you take Mana Flow Ban, it basically gives you the mana that you get from Lichbane, and Hextech Gunblade gives you attack damage and ability power. This will help your auto attacks to hit harder, which is Teemo's basically his source of damage is now his auto attacks other than his mushrooms. And not only does this give you attack damage and ability power, it also gives you magic and physical vamp. This is a great passive for Teemo as he wants to stay healthy in lane, and the vamp that he gets will help him do exactly that, as well as slowing them for 2 seconds with his passive. So when he gets the passive up for the Hextech Gunblade, it is extremely good with his kit. Next, after that, you want to be buying a boot item. For the boot item, I honestly just recommend itemizing based on the enemy team comp, or if you're up against a champion that you don't like laning against, then obviously build Mercury Treads if they're AP and Ninja Tabi if they're AD. If there's an even split on the enemy team and you think that you can win lane, then just take Gluttonous Greaves, as this will help you gain more physical vamp. And those are the boots I recommend with Teemo. You can also be taking Boots of Swiftness, but only take this item when your opponent has more movement speed than you, because you always want to be having more movement speed than your enemies, as that's where Teemo really shines, when he can run down the enemy with his superior movement speed. So after you get your boot item, I would recommend Stasis against assassins and enemies that can really burst you down or have lots of knockup. So that's when you want to be taking Stasis. For his, he can also be taking Proto Belt to gap close onto his enemy and to get that extra dash. However, if the enemy team comp has lots of CC and crowd control, I think the Quicksilver Sash is a great item for him. The other item that you can be considering is Teleport, and only be taking Teleport if you really think that you can get the full use out of it, as often I see people not using Teleport efficiently. And if you don't know how to use Teleport properly, just don't take it. Take a different item that will help you a lot more than the Teleport enchant. So after that, you want to be getting Soul Stealer, and this is another odd item that I have for Teemo, but this works really well as his ultimate cooldown will be reduced after he snowballs during the laning phase. If you're snowballing, then take Awakened Soul Stealer, as this will reduce the cooldown on your ultimate and be able to spam those mushrooms, having complete objective control and vision over the map. Super broken with Teemo. Try it out. I honestly think it's honestly super broken with Teemo. Another thing that you want to be taking in consideration is Morlanomicon, as this is another situational item. If you're up against a champion like Fiora that has lots of healing, you want to be rushing this item to impair that and make sure that you impair that healing and make sure that she can't heal up. This item is also great against champions with lots of Vamp, as it will also apply Grievous Wounds to that. Next, you want to be getting Rabadon's Death Cap, and this is important for every AP champion. This is probably your biggest power spike where you deal the most amount of damage. That it just gives you a sane amount of damage, so it's definitely a must buy with Teemo. After that, you want to be taking one situational item. You can be taking Void Staff if the enemy team has lots of MR, Liandry Torment if you just need the raw AP and increased damage in team fights and when laning, or you can be taking other situational items. If you want to know how to itemize properly and all the situational items you can get, you should check out my itemization guide. There should be a link on the screen and a link in the description below. Check that out right after you're done with this guide. For Teemo's runes, his first rune, I recommend taking Electrocute, as this will give you a bunch of burst damage, especially when you're using your auto attack first skill auto attack combo. You'll be able to proc Electrocute and deal a bit more burst damage. For his second rune, I would recommend taking Brutal if you just need the raw damage right from the start. However, if you think you're gonna snowball, then I would take Hunter Vampirism, as this will help you against champions that can deal a bit more poke damage to you, and since you have Vamp, you can be healing up, as well as it gives you more Vamp every time you have a takedown, which is a kill or assist on a unique champion. So if you're gonna snowball, definitely be taking that rune. After that, again, if you think you're going to snowball, you can take Hunter Titan, as this will give you more max health and slow resist every time you get a kill. Or if you're going to go my build and you find yourself running out of mana too often, you can be taking Regeneration, as that will help you regenerate health when you're low and regenerate mana when you're low on mana. So if you're going to be doing the Gunblade build, then consider taking Regeneration. The next rune that you want to be getting is Hunter Genius. If, again, you think you're going to snowball and you want that extra cooldown reduction, then you can get Hunter Genius. This rune recently got buffed, giving you 2.5 ability haste instead of that 1.5 that it used to give you. And the next rune that you also want to be taking is Mana Flow Ban, and this is necessary if you're going to go the Gunblade build, as you're going to run out of mana pretty quickly if you don't take the Mana Flow Ban. But I highly recommend trying that build out, as it is extremely broken right now, and it's definitely going to be meta unless Teemo gets nerfed or something like that. The other rune that you can be considering is Sweet Tooth if you're not super confident in lane, which you should never be with Teemo, but just in case you're laning against a champion that you really hate laning against, then be taking Honey Fruit, as you can stay healthy and stay in lane for longer. And since taking Honey Fruit gives you extra gold, you can afford to give up a couple CS just to stay healthy in lane. Okay, so for Teemo's spells, I would recommend for his first spell, Flash, as I recommend this with every champion. It's a great spell for versatility. It provides you with an escape tool, a second escape tool, and also helps you finish off kills and chase down enemies. Just a great skill to have in general. Always take Flash. The next spell that you want to be considering is Ignite, and you want to be using Ignite especially for champions that have lots of healing, such as Fiora or any champion that has lots of vamp, you want to definitely be considering Ignite, as it will not only increase your burst damage but impair the enemy healing. Third spell that you can consider is Barrier. Barrier is a great rune against champions that are more combo oriented or have more burst damage, so you want to be considering those 3 spells. Okay, so the first tip that I want to give you is using Teemo's mushrooms properly. And I often see Teemos placing their mushrooms seemingly randomly, where they'll just put them all over the place, or where minions are gonna walk over them, and it really makes me sad, because that's not how you're supposed to be placing his mushrooms. Don't place them randomly, don't use them like that. Place them where you can track. Now, the number one thing that you can place your mushroom is tracking enemy jungler to know where they are, because if you get ganked and you get 2v1, Teemo's not the best in that situation, so you want to be sure to track the enemy jungler. Second thing is to have the mushrooms placed where you think, oh, okay, so if I have the mushroom here, I can kite back to it and it will save me, it will help me escape. Or if I put the mushroom here, the opponent's gonna walk into it and it's gonna give me the kill. Those are the places that you want to be placing mushrooms. And the third place that you want to be placing mushrooms is around objectives and around like Baron and Dragon, because with Teemo's mushrooms you can just dominate objectives and have complete objective control if you do it properly. So be sure to keep those 3 different mushroom placements in mind when you are placing those mushrooms. My second tip for you is really know Teemo's auto attack range and really understand how far you have to hit your opponent, and learn how to kite your opponent properly and make sure you're trying to stay at around your maximum range. That way you can deal damage from a safe distance and be as annoying as possible. The third tip I have for you is using your blinding darts properly. If you use this on the enemy ADC, it effectively just makes the damage dealer on the enemy team useless, like completely useless. And this is why ADCs even hate Teemo, and they just become useless after Teemo uses this on them. So definitely, if you have the chance, definitely go ahead and blind the enemy ADC and make them rage. My last tip for you is to subscribe to this channel, because on this channel I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks and more macro guides for any champion that you play, not just Teemo, but things like split pushing and things like team fighting and warding and vision and other things like that. I'm going to be posting videos on those kind of things, so subscribe if you want to stay informed and in the loop, and if you enjoy my content. And with that, I want to say have fun playing Satan on the Wild Rift. So I hope you enjoyed that Teemo guide. It took a while to make, and these videos that I make take a lot of time and effort to make, and they take a long time to do. And I actually woke up again at 5:30 to make this guide for you guys. So I really hope you enjoy it. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit that like button. Also, go check out my giveaway video. I have a 100 subscriber giveaway, a skin giveaway. It's completely free to enter and it takes around 5 seconds. So go check that video out. Some things I want to ask you before the video ends is, first, I made some jokes this video, so if they're cringe and you want me to stop, please tell me to stop in the comments, because if it's cringe, I don't want to do it. Secondly, I want to ask you guys, what background music do you guys like? Right now I'm using one that's suggested by someone on Discord. However, if you guys want some different background music and you have any suggestions, leave that in the comments below. Lastly, some of the gameplay comes from Kashi's channel. You can go check it out, links in the description. Yeah, and have fun playing Teemo. And with that, I will see you soon. Bye!